are you?
Well, it's listed as a fullback, but I can assume that we would, see how things go and continue to develop and grow from there. So I'm excited for it.
Was that part of the pre-draft process, like talking to teams and kind of seeing how they envision you and how you envision yourself?
Oh, definitely. But it's funny because all teams always had a different view on how they saw me. And ultimately for me, it's like, if you guys are giving me the opportunity, it doesn't matter to me. I'll do whatever I can to get on a spot and help the team win.
When you went through that, was there any team that you kind of like, whoa, I hadn't even thought of that? Or was it all pretty much?
It was pretty much, yeah, it's either offense or defense, and then obviously the special teams component of it. So
There must have been a lot of times during a game where you're playing offense and you're on the sideline and the linebacker group is like going over plays and stuff like that. How did you sort of mentally during the course of a game go between all the different positions that you had to know? It must have been hard.
Well, it's actually pretty funny because the coaches at Oregon State, they knew it was going to be an issue just because when they're going over stuff on defense, I'm going to be out on the field on offense. So what they actually ended up doing is one of the assistants, when I'd come back, he would always be around me and follow me and basically just fill me in on what's being said and any adjustments that are being made. So it worked out pretty smoothly.
It wasn't hard to kind of keep track of all that during the course of a game.
No, I was so lost in the game and so focused and locked in on all that. So didn't run into too many issues.
Sorry. What was the flurry like after the draft and the attention you're getting from teams, and what made you want to come here?
Ultimately, I mean, the 49ers are a great fit, and there was discussion between other teams. It's just that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled, really, per se. But ultimately, I knew before the draft even happened, I was like, okay, this is a good organization, a good fit for me, and that's just kind of where it ended up and got me here.
Why is it such a good fit?
Well, just what Shanahan does with his offense, and especially how he uses his players and how he values versatility. I believe that's something that speaks to me and is something that I can go and be a part of and develop in.
Is Kyle Juszczyk a guy that you have kind of watched and paid attention to over the years, and how Kyle uses him?
Well, it's funny because our offense at Oregon State tried to do a lot of what the 49ers do. I mean, obviously not as complex and expanded, but there's always portions of it that we watch tape and take from what they do. So watching the 49ers, and especially him, and how successful he is and how skilled of a player he is, it's pretty impressive.
My question was going to be tied to that. I'm sure you did some post-draft research. Are the 49ers exceptional in that they emphasize versatility maybe more than the average NFL offense?
Oh, definitely. And you can see that, especially how they use their players in the fullback position.
Jack, you get the Taysom Hill comparisons a lot. Have you studied his game at all?
I've definitely watched it a fair amount, but it's funny because when that kind of first got brought up, I was like, oh yeah, so I'd always be rooting for him. I was like, okay, he's kind of creating a market, for me with his versatility and doing all that stuff. So I believe, especially being here, there'll be, some sort of that and however they want to use me.
One more for Jack.
Did Shanahan get on the phone with you and make a pitch as you're kind of, deciding between all these teams after the draft?
Yeah, he did. I'm trying to remember if it was, I think it was towards the end of the draft before, the draft ended and stuff like that. But yeah, I talked to him for a minute.
Can you remember what that pitch was?
I mean, obviously he said, that you'd be a great fit here, and it's like, we really want you and stuff like that. But the exact details of it, I can not really say that. There's a emotional moment. There's a lot going on, so I was trying to sort out.
Yeah.
How many teams were in the mix for you?
God, I'm trying to think. There was like 5, 6, I think, something like that towards the end. So, and then, all that stuff broke loose, and then eventually made my decision, felt good about it. So,
All right, guys.
there you go. Great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.